Good morning, everyone. The agenda for this class today is for us to, go through the orientation where we tell you exactly what to expect when it comes to Rsk4804, which is credit risk management, and also where to get your material when it comes to maneuvering our website as well. So before we start, my name is Reynolds Musha. And these are the two email addresses that we're going to be using. If remember, as we are going to be guiding you through the assignments as well, you'll see that sometimes you might need to send your assignment in for review. And when you're sending your assignment in for review, the email address that you can use is this one, although I'm also going to share it with you as well, just before we go through the assignments. Then if there's any admin queries that you might have as well, you can also send it to this email address where the people in the admin are going to be able to deal with your queries as well. My contact number is this one. And with this one, you can either call me directly via mobile, or you can also contact me via WhatsApp as well using this particular number. So this is the number that you can also contact me through when it comes to any queries that you might have, or you want to be able to ask anything as well. So that's the number that you can also use as well. So the agenda for today's class is orientation. And it's not going to be a long class because the idea is we need to make sure that you know exactly what to expect when it comes to the module, and then as well as how to maneuver the website, so that before the next class that we're going to be having, remember, the next class is going to be on the 29th of so the next class is going to be on the next, the next class is going to be on the 29th of March. And we're busy finalizing the timetable, which means that as soon as the timetable is ready around Tuesday, Wednesday, during the coming week, we should be able to indicate to you that the timetable is ready. And then you're going to be able to now access and view the timetable on our website, which will show you the classes that you're going to be having between now until end of October, because that's when we should be done going through the study units. Then the period of November, December, January, until you write in February, we did get that period for revision where we go through with you past question papers and past assignments as well. But for revision, we're going to discuss in detail when it comes to the revision when we get to October as well. And also in October, that's when we're going to be updating the timetable. Please note that the timetable for revision, especially the classes that are going to be having in Jan-Feb next year, we are going to be compressing as many classes as possible. So it's not going to be the normal routine of the class that we're going to be having between now until December. In January, because we're only left with a month or month and a half before you guys write your exams, we try as much as possible to compress as many classes as possible, although the classes are always going to be held over the weekend. In exceptional cases, maybe once or twice that's when we can have classes during the week. But if it's going to be during the week, during the revision period, it will be from 7 to 9 p.m. But remember, under normal circumstances, as we go through the study units, our classes are always going to be on a Saturday. So under normal circumstances, as we go through the study units, our classes are always going to be on a Saturday. And generally, our classes are every second week, and each class is 3 hours long. So you also see that for this particular module, you are going to be expecting about 2 assignments that you're going to be going through. Now, as you go through these 2 assignments, please note that the lecturers will post the assignment as and when we go, and then they'll also post the due date of the assignments as and when we go. So what we're going to do is that as soon as the assignment is made available, I'll also announce when you are going to be sitting as a class to go through that assignment, so that we also guide you on exactly how to approach this assignment. My advice to you is when it comes to these assignments, make sure that you, even if we go through a particular assignment with you in class, make sure that you also put more meat to that assignment, because we need to make sure that whatever you're submitting is not just copy and paste. You need to demonstrate your own individual understanding of the concepts that are being covered in the what? In the assignments. So please make sure that whatever we do as we go through the assignments as well, put your own meat instead of just copying and pasting whatever we've given you, because you need to demonstrate your understanding of the concept as well as an individual. And because of that, make sure that you are able to now use the whatever the template that we give you as a guideline to address, so that we make sure that what you're not going on tangent as well. And for Rsk4804, in some cases, some of the assignments, they try to give you an individualized type of question where they say, choose a company of your own, and from this particular company, analyze this company as well. So which means each individual student is going to be expected to choose their own individual company to analyze in one of these assignments as well. Usually for Rsk4804, they love doing that. So what I would advise you to do is that as we prepare you during the assignments that are going to be going through the class, the assignment class that are going to be having, we will give you the guidelines to follow in your analysis. And then once you do the guideline, each individual student now will need to prepare a draft. Now, when they prepare a draft, they email it to me. And when they email it to me, I'll be able to now look at this particular draft and review it to make sure that you're not on a tangent as well. Now, after reviewing that draft, I can also give you feedback. If you want to send it back again, you can still send it back again until we are happy that this is something that is going to be in line with the expectations of the lecturer as well. Then you can what? Submit to the lecturer. So that's basically how we guide you through the assignment. Now, remember we said between now until end of October, that's when you're going to be going through the study units. So as you go through the study units, please make sure that you bear the following in mind. For Rsk4804, there are 12 learning units that you need to go through. So there are 12 learning units. But now, of these 12 learning units, please note that there are some learning units. Remember, there are 3 textbooks that you're going to be looking at and utilizing. The one textbook is by Bandoya Padi. The other textbook is by C.B. Joseph. And then the third textbook is by Whitney. So all these 3 textbooks, we are going to be utilizing these 3 textbooks. So which means as you go through these different learning units, make sure that you have your study guide with you to show you exactly what are you expecting to be covered under each learning unit. Like for example, when you look at learning unit 1, which looks at credit risk, which is basically an introduction to credit risk analysis and management as well, you'll see that for learning unit 1, they give you the learning outcomes, then they give you the learning material. And under learning material, they are saying you must go through chapter 1 of the book by Bandoya Padi, you must go through chapter 2 of the book by Whitney, and you must also go through chapter 2 of the book by C.B. Joseph. So which means it's not just one textbook we are going to be referring to. So which means that no matter what you do, as you go through these different study units as well, always refer to your study guide, because it will tell you what to expect and what is expected to be covered under each what study unit as well. Generally, my advice is, when it comes to especially the book by Bandoya Padi and Whitney, remember there are these learning outcomes that you're expected to know from these 3 books for learning unit 1. And then there's also different overviews of the units as well and what is expected to be covered as well. So what we do is that we already have the soft copies of the textbook by Bandoya Padi, by Whitney, and by Joseph, which are already highlighted with a bit of notes on them as well. My advice is, as you go through these different chapters under each study unit, always refer to the textbook that we are going to be able to give you, so that you're able to access as well. So that as you go through this material, you are not going to be going through too much unnecessary information. Because remember, how we cover these or how we highlight the information in these textbooks as well, it's based on these learning outcomes that are expected by the lecturer. So which means you might find, in most cases, you find that Bandoyapadi and Whitney, they go in so much depth, more than what the lecturer is expecting to extract from that chapter as well. So please, as you go through these learning units, try to stick to the information as highlighted in the different textbooks as well, so that you don't end up doing unnecessary things than what is expected under the learning outcomes. And I'll also show you exactly how you can be able to go through and access the material as well. We'll cover that just now. Then, so which means you'll see that in learning unit 1, under credit risk analysis and management, they're expecting to go through these chapters from these different books as well. Learning unit 2, the same, you'll see that they're expecting to cover chapter 6 of C.B. Joseph. So which means that you must always go through the curriculum according to the study guide provided by the lecturer. And then learning unit 3, where you look at ratings and scoring systems as well, they are also indicating exactly which pages under which book are you expected to cover as well. And as you can see, in learning unit 3, you need to look at chapter 2 of Bandoyapadi and chapter 3 of Whitney. And as you look at these sections or chapters as well, they are also guiding you under learning outcomes. So which means you must always refer to your learning outcomes so that you know exactly, if I'm expected to cover chapter 2 of Whitney or chapter 3 of Bandoyapadi, for example, you must always refer to your learning outcomes so that you don't end up covering unnecessary information than what the lecturer is expecting you to extract from that particular chapter. So ideally, use the soft copies of the textbooks that we're going to show you exactly how to access, so that when you look at these soft copies of these textbooks as well, you are going to be in a position where you are now going to be able to stick to the learning outcomes instead of doing unnecessary things. Because remember, in those textbooks, the information is already going to be highlighted to you as well. Then for learning unit 4 as well, just like what I said, we are looking at calculation of the expected loss, which is made up of your loss given default, exposure, ending exposure at default, and the probability of default, and also the term to maturity as well, which is covered under learning unit 4. And then they are also asking you to go through chapters 3 and section 3.5 of Whitney, and then chapters 3 and 4 of Bandoyapadi. So please take note of the learning outcomes so that you don't end up going through unnecessary things. So for every learning unit that you're going to be covering, take note of the learning outcomes. And then in learning unit 5 as well, integrated review of the firm risk levels. And here they are asking you to look at chapter 9 of C.B. Joseph. So you need to make sure that you go through according to the requirements of the study guide. Then learning unit 6, we are looking at financial risks. And as you're looking at financial risks, they're asking you to look at chapter 8 of C.B. Joseph. And then learning unit 7, which looks at credit derivatives, they are asking you to go through to work through Whitney. So they are asking you to go through the textbook by chapter 5 of Whitney. And then when you look at learning unit 8, which looks at major portfolio risk and assessment of credit risk, they are also asking you to look at chapter 15 of C.B. Joseph, and then chapter 6 of Bandoyapadi as well. And then as you go through learning unit 9, you see that this is where you're looking at credit risk, validation and of models and base or accords. And here, they're asking you to look at chapter 16 of C.B. Joseph, and then chapter 5 of Bandoyapadi as well. Then when you look at credit risk in project finance, they're asking you to look at chapter 11 of C.B. Joseph. And then as you look at learning unit 11, which looks at credit risk in working capital, they're asking you to look at chapter 12 of C.B. Joseph. And then the last learning unit, which looks at security basics, collateral and governance, they're asking you to look at chapter 22 and 23 of C.B. Joseph. So as you can see, you need to make sure that you refer to your study guide as you go through these different learning units, so that you know exactly for each learning unit which textbook and which sections am I expected to cover from those textbooks, so that you do not end up doing things that you're not necessarily expected to be able to cover as well. So these are the 12 learning units that you're expected to cover when it comes to credit risk management. Are there any questions so far? Any questions?
Hi, Rhinus.
Yes.
Yes, I needed to find out about the textbooks, right?
Mhm.
So then, is there like a central place we can get them together, or is different places? Can you assist in that? Is it possible?
I will demonstrate that just now when it comes to accessing the material on our website. I'll demonstrate it just now.
Thank you.
All right. Is there another question? Is there another question? All right. So the next thing that I need to demonstrate to you is how to access the material for credit risk management from our website as well. So you'll see that when you go to our website, you type in rminstitute.co.za, and when you type in rminstitute.co.za, you'll see that it takes you to the main page of our website, and if you go to student login, it now takes you, if you don't have a user account as yet, or if you have not had one created for you as yet, you go to registering your user account, and then you put in your email address, your username, as well as creating your passwords. Then if you already have a password, then you're going to enter your email address, or you enter your username, and then you also enter your password as well. And then you are going to be able to log into the dashboard as well. Now, when you log into the dashboard, as you log into the dashboard, so after you put in your username and your password as well, when you log into your dashboard, it means when you scroll down, you see that the courses that are going to be registered for are going to be showing under my courses. So under my courses, which is the first thing that you see when you log in there, the courses that you're registered for are going to be showing under my courses as well. Then when you now look at these courses as well, if you click on the course that you want to access information on, you will see that the first thing that you see is the overview of the course, to say what are you expecting when it comes to the overview of the course, and what material and what calculator are you expected to use. Then you also click on the curriculum. Then when you click on curriculum, the first tab that you're going to see there is the one that gives you Rsk4804 risk management books. And if you click on this tab under risk management books, you will see that it gives you a link to the Google Drive. And if you click on the link to the Google Drive, it will give you all the books that you are going to be using for risk management. So which means, remember, for RSK4803, for RSK4804, you are going to be downloading the book by C.B. Joseph. You're going to be downloading the book by Whitney, and then you're also going to be downloading the book by Bandoyo Fandi. This one is for RSK4805, so you don't necessarily need for 04, and we just put it under one folder. So this is how you're going to be able to download the soft copies of these books as well, because when you click on download, it means you're going to be able to download the books that you need. Are there any questions on how to access these books? Please note that if you try to download these books using your work laptops, from the previous groups, I've noticed that if you're using your personal laptop, it's not going to be a problem. But usually, in some cases where you're using a company laptop, downloading material from websites, maybe your laptop might be set up in such a way that you might not be able to download that material as well. So please bear that in mind, so that in case you don't get an option to download that material as well, take note that if it's a company laptop, it might be set up in such a way that you're not able to download material from websites as well. So please just bear that in mind. Then after downloading the textbook, the next steps that you're going to be seeing there is the videos covering the different chapters under each learning unit. Like, for example, when you look at learning unit 1, you will see that there's a video. Remember, the learning unit 1, there are 3 textbooks that we're expected to cover from 3 chapters from 3 textbooks that we're expected to cover there. Where we see that the learning unit 1, there's a video covering chapter 1 of Pandayapadi. There's a video covering chapter 2 of Whitney, and then there's a video covering chapter 2 of C.B. Joseph. So which means depending on exactly which one you need to be covering, this is how you're now going to be going through the different videos. And as you can see, for learning unit 2, if you scroll down, for learning unit 2, there's a video covering chapter 6 of C.B. Joseph. And then when you go on to learning unit 3, you see, which looks at ratings and scoring systems, there's a video covering chapter 3 of Whitney, and then there's another video covering chapter 2 of Pandayapadi, according to the study guide. So you're going to be going through these videos now until you get to learning unit 12. So you're going to be going through these videos until you get to learning unit 12. Then after learning unit 12, the next tab that you're going to see there is for you to now be able to access the revision material. So if you click on the tab to be able to access the revision material, if you click on the tab, it will give you a link to the Google Drive where you are going to be able to download the revision material. So which means the first folder that you see there is for past paper memos. The second folder is for those practice questions that are also made available by the lecturer, that way you're able to download these practice questions as well. Then the third tab is for the assignment question and answers. Because if you look at these assignment question and answers, you see that there is tabs where there's material where you're able to access the assignment questions from previous years, and also the answers is provided by the lecturer for these assignments as well. Then the next tab is basically the tab for you to be able to access the folder for the past question papers as well. And remember, as you go through the year, it means we're going to be updating the 2025 Jan, Feb, and May, June as well. So that when we start doing revision, that's when we're going to be going through with you the Jan, Feb, and May, June 2025 paper as well. So which means that this is how you're going to be able to access the revision material. Are there any questions so far? Now, after the tab for you to be able to access the revision material, if you go back, so after the tab for you to be able to access the revision material, you'll see that when you keep scrolling down, you're going to be able to get remember we said that there's other exam prep material that you're able to access for practice questions and exercises as well. You're also going to be able to access this as well. And then there's also videos going through the Feb 2017 question paper. And then we also look at the May, June 2017 paper. And then you keep scrolling down. When you look at 2018 and 2019, and so from 2019, we also have videos going through assignments, as well as videos going through the past question papers. And the same applies for 2020 all the way through to 2025, which means in 2025, when we go through the assignments, the videos are going to be uploaded here. And in 2025, as we go through the Jan-Feb 2025 paper, the video is going to be uploaded there. And as we go through the May-June 2025 paper, the video is also going to be uploaded here as well. So this is basically how we are going to be able to access the videos going through the study units that we did last year and the videos that we're going to be doing this year. So which means, as you can see, when you go through the different study units, the videos that were recorded last year, they are going to be labeled 2024 at the end. And then when we go through these learning units this year as well, the videos are going to be labeled 2025 at the end. So which means you need to be able to distinguish to say, so which video was recorded in which year? The one that we did last year is labeled 2024 at the end, and then the one that we did, that we're going to be doing this year as well, it's going to be labeled 2025, so that you need to know exactly, so which one is the current video and which one is the video that we would have used to prepare for the coming classes as well. They are both going to be available depending on exactly when that video was recorded as well. Are we on the same page? Any questions? Anyone lost? So when it comes to Rsk4804, remember we said it's credit risk management. You find that it's a mixture of theory and calculation type of questions. So it's a mixture of theory and calculation type of questions. So which means my advice is make sure that you at least have a scientific calculator available for you to be able to do the calculations. So you need to be having a scientific calculator available so that when it comes to the calculation type of questions, you need to be able to utilize that calculator as well, because it's going to be a mixture of theory and calculation type of questions. So you need to have a scientific calculator available. Now, the type of scientific calculator that you need available, preferably it would be a scientific calculator where when you type in plus something like, for example, 1 + 1, it should show you on your screen that you're saying you have added 1 + 1 on your screen. Because usually there are some cases where some students use the HP calculator, goes with the HP calculator, and some scientific calculators, if you say 1 + 1, it will indicate you 1 on the calculator, but it not indicate the plus on your screen, which means preferably to make life easier, to avoid having complications when it comes to these calculations, because some of these calculations can be a bit long as well and complex. So to avoid having a student getting lost in their calculation as well, I would prefer that you have a calculator which shows you your calculation on your screen. Because if it shows you your calculation on your screen, you'll know that, okay, fine, I have opened bracket here and I need to close bracket there. I've put an addition here, I'm adding here, I'm multiplying here, I'm subtracting here, and I'm dividing here. All those should be shown on your screen, and it makes your life easier when it comes to use of the calculator. Because what we've noticed over the years is that many students, they struggle quite a lot when it comes to, they'll be knowing the concepts, but now transferring that knowledge into a calculator, we've noticed that if you have a calculator that doesn't show you exactly where you've opened bracket, where you've closed bracket, where you've put division there, many students struggle with the concept of BODMAS. It sounds simple, but many students struggle with that. But we now have a scientific calculator that way you are able to transfer your calculation onto the screen, and then you open bracket, you close bracket, you divide or multiply, whatever it is that you're going to be doing. The calculator will remember the concept of BODMAS for you, as long as you are putting the brackets where it's supposed to be, you are putting the addition where it's supposed to be, we are putting the subtraction or multiplication and division where it's supposed to be as well. The calculator will remember the concept of BODMAS for you. And because of that, that's why I would prefer that you use the calculator where you're able to see what is happening on the screen as well. Are there any questions so far? Any questions? So remember, today's class is not a long class. The main thing that I needed you guys to know is exactly where do you get your material and how do you access that material, which is specifically the videos and the soft copies of the textbooks as well. So your homework for now is to go through the website, log in, access your material, have your material in order, at least go through the videos that we have made available to you to prepare for the next class. Because in the next class, we're going to be starting off with the learning unit 1. And remember that we said the next class is going to be on the 29th of March. So which means on the 29th of March, same slot, 11 to 2 p.m. Because every class is going to be a 3-hour class. And our classes are generally on a Saturday. And each class is going to be And our classes are generally every second Saturday, although we're going to post a timetable which shows you exactly when are we going to be having classes between now until end of October, because that's when we should done with the study units, which means because of this, it means that for now, the idea behind this class is show you exactly where do you get your material, how do you now put your things in order in preparation for this, for study unit 1. Because in the next class, the expectation is you know where your material is, you know how to access your material, you know how to access your videos, you know exactly where is what. Now that these things are in order, it means when we start off with the learning unit 1, you know exactly what to do, and you know exactly if you miss the class or you still want to go back to the video that would have done as well, you will know exactly how do I log in and how do I access that video once it's uploaded. Because these videos are the video for learning unit 1 for this year is also going to be uploaded under the folder for learning unit 1. The video for learning unit 2 is going to be uploaded under the folder for learning unit 2. What you now need to take note of is that the videos that we do this year, they're going to be labeled what? 2025 at the end. So that's the most important thing. So that once we start, we know that everything's smooth. You are now going to be knowing exactly where your things are, and everything is going to be in order as well. My advice to you is try as much as possible to go through these videos from last year in preparation for the coming class. Because as you go through these videos from last year, if there's anything that you don't understand, take note of it. So that when we go through the class now, officially, when we go through the class now covering these learning units, what is going to happen? You will have questions to ask, so that are also clarifying. And you will see that it makes your life a lot easier, such that once you attend the class or you go through the video, you will see that if you follow this particular formula, you will not, come October, you will not need to go back to any one of these study learning units, because already you've polished up everything. So when you go into revision, you won't feel overwhelmed, because what? You've already polished up your foundation when it comes to the study units. The next thing now, you're familiarizing yourself with exactly how do the lecturers ask these questions in the exam, so that you're now going to be able to prepare yourself for the what? Jan-Feb 2026 exams as well. It makes your life a lot easier. That's why we always have these videos available to you, so that you're able to utilize them as well. Are there any questions? All right. If there are no questions, let's end here today. The main thing today was to show you what is what to expect, and where do you get your things, so that you make sure that you have your house in order, so that on the 29th, when we start, we're not going to be dealing with these housekeeping things. Everything will be in order. The only thing that we're focusing on, how do we go about learning unit 1? How do we go about learning unit 2? Because what? We're expecting that everything is going to be in order as well. So that's why you see that today's class was just an orientation class, so that you know exactly what to expect and how do you get your material and how to prepare yourself. Are there any questions? All right. If there are no questions, let's end here today. Please make sure that by the 29th, you have your house in order. You have your material ready. You know exactly where to get your material when it comes to maneuvering the website. So that, and remember, on the website as well, your timetable is also going to be uploaded on the website. You will be able to access that timetable, but we'll also send you a link on the groups as well, on the different WhatsApp groups, so that you're able to access that timetable link as well, so that you know exactly when are we having the class and what time we're going to be having the class as well. Are there any questions? All right. If there are no questions, enjoy the rest of your weekend. And please, by the time we get to the 29th of March, make sure that you have your house in order. You already know exactly, you have your material already. The only thing that we're doing is starting off with the learning unit 1. All right, enjoy your weekend.